and close to free marketing tools that work at your fingertips. And the key here is that free marketing is priceless, because free marketing is often the marketing that is the most impactful. And the reason that's so is that some of the tactics we're going to talk about today are ones that have a lot more credibility, so they're more believable. And that, my friends, is priceless, and that's what this is all about. So what to expect, why this webinar, I will jump into that. We're going to talk about the top 20 free marketing tools, but then we're going to talk about some bonus tools, and really the main bonus tool is the word of mouth. It's when you've done everything right and people start talking about you, and you don't even have to get them to talk about you, and we'll how to do that. So why this webinar? Really, cash is king, and being thrifty does make sense. So we don't always have to spend as much money as possible in order to still get results. And that's even more and more true with the more technology and other options that we have in terms of online marketing. And again, it's even more and more true because people don't actually, other than anything else, what they do these days, consumers, they research everything online. So that's making all the free marketing tools that are online even more effective. So if they're not costing money, why the heck wouldn't we use them? And the second, marketing brings more cash into the business. And really, that's what this is all about, is that if we're not making money, it's a hobby, it's not a business. And what we want this to be is, of course, a successful business. So number one, I should have made you guess, but the number one marketing tool that is very, very effective, and it's cheap and cheerful for sure, it is the smile. A smile can come across in your email, obviously comes across when you're face-to-face with someone, but it does come across on the phone, does come across in the email, does come across in any of your written. And people in general can just tell when you're having that optimistic, uplifting, and you're a happy person, someone who is going to build rapport with them. All of these things are great for sales, and they're all great for marketing. So Smile is secretly a marketing tool. Maybe you didn't even think it was a marketing tool, but it is. Number two is your 30-second pitch. And I know that a lot of coaches talk about the pitch, and they talk about how to say it at a networking event and things like that. But really, the pitch, the best thing about a pitch is putting the scope around what you do. Because keep it simple, sweetheart. We want to keep it simple so people understand what it is that we're doing. And so your 30-second pitch should be the most simplistic, easiest way that you can describe what you do and how you do it and why you're better or different. And by phrasing it that way, people will go, oh, I'll remember it, and then I can start telling other people about it. So sometimes you want it to be emotional. Often you want it to talk about who your ideal customer is. So who do you deliver to the best? And often you want to tell a story. A 30-second pitch often goes over 30 seconds. And why? Well, if you have any extra time in a 30-second pitch, you want to make sure that you talk about how you're different. But you can see these top two, one, smile, and 30-second pitch, two, pretty easy, something that everyone can start doing today. And I think that that's really motivational and exciting. So how about number three and four? The handshake. So a handshake does say a lot about you. It's a lot about your first impression. Do you even shake hands? Are you willing to do that? So putting your hand out, having that firm handshake. Don't have that limp fish. You want to make sure that you put it out there and you have the firm handshake and it's solid. That says a lot about you. Of course, you don't want to squeeze too hard. That's not very nice, and you definitely don't want to have that first impression. The next thing, eye contact. And eye contact can be even what's in your eyes. Are you sincere? Are you genuine? Do you look like you care? Are you avoiding their eyes? Are you looking over their shoulders when you're talking to them? So these are all fairly simple things and things that just thinking about them, you'll already be better at them. Number 5 and 6, it's all about the phone. So when people call you, what's their first impression? Your voicemail, do you actually have noises in the background? In your voicemail, are you not sounding as professional as you could? Are you not being as clear as you could be? What's happening? And then number 6, call display. Well, this is important for you because let's say it's one of your long-term customers, or maybe it's someone that you want to be delivering high-quality service to, and they call. Well, on your phone, do you know who it is? Are you going to answer it like it's your grandfather or your son or granddaughter? And then you're not sounding as professional as you could. And call display, there is something extra special about when someone picks up the phone and right away they go, "Hi Carla, hi Sarah, hi Tom," whatever your name is, and you hear your name and the person remembered you and they bothered to even put you in their phone or remember you, that makes a big difference. And that ties into the next one, just remembering people's names. So some of the things that we're talking about, you may not have even thought of them as a marketing tactic, but starting to put all these together, the pitch, the smile, the handshake, and remembering people's names, all these things together, that's great customer service, and that's going to start building up your word of mouth. So remembering people's names, and I know that a lot of people, they have a challenge where they say, "I don't really remember everyone's name." And that's a really hard thing for me to do, so how can I do that? And there's lots of different tactics out there. I mean, you can do similarities, or you can do rhyme a name with something else, or you can write it down. So there are tactics. But the number one tactic is simple. Just try. If all you do is try to start remembering someone's name, it's probably going to start happening. So just try. Number 8 and 9 is going to be all about your contact information. How are you getting out there? And there's simple things that this isn't free, but it's pretty darn close. I mean, you can leverage Vistaprint or a lot of other local print shops or printing companies out there that business cards don't have to be hugely expensive. You can get a couple hundred for under $100. So that is close to free. It's not free, but it's something that you can probably manage. And then, of course, your email signature. So this one, having that on the bottom of all your emails, what does it say? Do you change it? Do you have a slogan? Do you talk about values? Do you have a discount? Do you have a special there? Do you talk about a new product or service that you have? You can be really creative with your email signatures. I've seen some people not only have an email signature, but they have actually a line at the very top that changes. Or the funny one I've seen is I've seen people change their job titles. That one makes me chuckle, but I do notice it when they change their job titles. Networking. Networking is half marketing, half sales here, but what's neat about it is that this is great for people who believe they're introverts or don't like selling. Because networking is about meeting people, it's about socializing, and as an introvert, we're typically very, very good at this because we're great listeners, and we might ask that important question to get others talking, and they love talking about themselves, and so you just get to listen and absorb, and they like you for that. On the flip side, of course, being an extrovert, you might get to meet more people. So networking can be a very strong thing to use, and finding like-minded people who are going to the same type of events as you can be extremely helpful. You can find business partners there, suppliers, you can find customers there, so lots of different people, employees of course, so lots of different people to find through networking. Another one that's not really looked at is that mentors and boards of advisors. What's neat about having people like this is it instantly expands your sales force without actually costing any money. So it's not just who you know, it's who the people you know. And what's really great about this is not only are they basically are drinking the Kool-Aid, they love what you're doing, otherwise they wouldn't have been your mentor or your board of advisor. And then they probably, because they're your mentor or boards of advisors, they probably have more experience than you have. So they probably have more connections and have been in the industry for longer than you have. So they are a really great people or person to have on your side. And sometimes we neglect to have a mentor, or we neglect to have a board of advisors. Don't. Definitely consider getting one if you don't have one now. Demonstrations and examples. Definitely for a new product or service, this is important, and especially to prove how you're different, because sometimes people listen to your message, but how do you make it believable? In fact, whenever you have a brand new product that's launching, demonstrations and user rates are key. Think about how Google does things. They just made their Gmail free when they first started. Facebook is free. So how do you get your users up? And a lot of online services are free at the get-go, or they have some sort of free trial, like Constant Contact has that, and then they start charging you. So are there different ways that you could provide demonstrations or examples? This one's a really neat one, the customer follow-ups, and then of course to give referrals is to create reciprocity, so getting people to want to give back. Customer follow-ups is something that a lot of people forget to do, and this happens to many small business owners, but also professional salespeople. And the big thing is that people stop buying for you for many different reasons, and typically the reason isn't because they don't like you. Think about why you stopped buying at a place. Is it because you hated it? In some instances, yes. But typically you stopped buying there because you moved, or it wasn't as convenient for you, or you just forgot it wasn't top of mind. So all of these other reasons are why you stopped buying somewhere. So if you follow up with them, ask them those questions, or give them a reason to start buying again, your sales will probably increase. And if there is something wrong, and that's the reason why they stopped, it's pretty important to find that out earlier rather than later. So don't feel bad about following up. Number 15, give referrals. Definitely giving referrals, givers gain. I think that's what BNI is all about, the Business Networking International. And it's all about giving, staying top of mind, building that rapport, and often when you're giving, you get tenfold in return. And I mean, you can talk about that in business, but you can also talk about that in life. So when you're listening at networking events, is there someone that you can support their business with? Social media, of course, free, and we have lots of other videos about this. In fact, when I send out today's video, I'll make sure that I have a link to the other social media videos we've done in the past. We've done one on social media 2015. We've done one on Twitter, on YouTube, how to optimize that. So we do have our social media guru with all their good information that we'll be able to provide there. But of course, this can take a lot of time. So you want to make sure that you have a strategy with this. And we just find that the more that everything is evolving in here, it's becoming more niche. So it's going to be, let's say if you're an interior designer, there's going to be different types of social media that's going to be better for you. But also it has to have a strategy, otherwise it gets lost because there is so much competition. And the final thing is time. So making sure that you are investing that time, because you just set up a Pinterest account is not just going to increase your business. You actually have to spend some time there. Feedback forms. So that is following up with your customers. Feedback forms is another way to do this proactively. And then gathering testimonials as well. That can come from the feedback forms. That can come from following up with old customers. And it helps with the credibility, because people basically buy and marketing works when you've established that they are aware of your business, that they trust your business, so the credibility side, and finally, that they actually like you. So that's also the rapport, which was the smile we started with. A CRM, there's lots of free stuff out there, but there's also Salesforce, Constant Contact available. You could use your own spreadsheet at home. So how do you keep track of your customers? Because it's actually not getting new customers that's as important as retaining your customers. So a financial planner typically loses about 5 to 10% of their clients each year. That means that to stay stagnant, they only have to have 5% new customers. That's not a lot if they're retaining 95%. So start thinking about, do we have a retention strategy? And the last one here, again, is don't forget to smile, because that's definitely important. But don't worry, we have other ones that are still free. And just some tips before we close this down and open it for questions of maybe what works for specific industries. But for cold calling, this has actually been proven to be the lowest cost, most effective way to generate awareness in business-to-business selling. So if you're professional services or if you have large sales, you know what? Don't overlook cold calling. I know that sometimes it appears scary, but it's very effective to get awareness. Jumping down, it's actually direct email or follow-up email and newsletters. That's what actually turns a cold call, which is your awareness, into a sale. That's kind of interesting. So those are the top two things, because 90% of a sale or marketing is actually the follow-up to convert them. Other ideas is, could you put a discount on your contracts or your invoices? Or could you actually do additional brand awareness or talk about other products or services there? Are there strategic alliances that you could make with other companies that are going for the same target market? Online communities that you could jump into and talk about and add additional resources there so that you get that awareness. Sell sheets so that you have very clear professional communication. Enter into directories. There's lots that are free. Referral partners, which is similar to strategic alliances. Be funky with your job titles, which we kind of talked about already. Really focus on your loyal customers and the retention strategy, because they start referring and they talk about you. So if you have 1,000 people who love your business, you're probably doing pretty well. So keep track of them and reward them. Blogging, of course, that's great in social media. Link exchanges always work well. Newspaper articles, way more credible than in advertising. So how do you do a press release? Really, probably the best thing is to talk to an editor, talk to a reporter, and find out how to slant your pitch. We also have a video about setting up your PR strategy. Customer list and pictures of them. Pictures speak 1,000 words. We talked about email. Speaking, so be that credible expert. Volunteering, you'll be shocked at who you meet. Media interviews, of course, and then any sort of online presentations work as well. There are tons of free marketing tools out there, but not everything will work for you. This is really a huge brainstorming. We highlighted the top 20 for you, but my challenge for everyone who is watching this is to come up with, out of everything we heard, what's the top 3 things you're going to start doing differently this week. And that's from Small Business Solver, and we'll stop the recording and start with any questions that everyone might have. So I did breeze through it.